Hey, I'm Pastor Edward Harden. Got a minute? Welcome to the Better Cast, where we are continuing our studies in the book of Hebrews. Yesterday, we talked about the symbolism in the sanctuary and how every element of the sanctuary was in some way a representation of Christ, from the laver to the washing and him being the bread of life and him being the light of the world. Today, I want to talk about the mechanism of the sanctuary, the reality that it had a purpose. It wasn't just a place for good music and good preaching, but it was dealing with the sin problem. Notice what the text says today, Hebrews chapter 9 and verse number 7. But only the high priest ever entered the most holy place, and only once a year. He always offered blood for his own sins and for the sins the people had committed in ignorance. Yesterday we saw that the blood, after the sacrifice was made, sprinkled on the altar outside, and then it moved into the holy place where it was also sprinkled on the veil. And what we see today is now the blood being brought into the most holy place. It was only once a year, and it was only by the high priest. And he had to have blood for his own sins as well as someone else. And it was said that they had to tie bells around the bottom of his robe, and they had to have a rope around his ankle in case his own sins weren't covered. What we see here is that the responsibility for sin was moving from the sinner into the very presence of God. Because the Bible lets us know that without the shedding of blood, there is no remission of sin. We've said it before, but the beautiful and the powerful thing is that God was taking responsibility for the sin problem for those whose faith was in him. We see in the sanctuary a means of blood transport as God was healing and taking care of our sin problem.